from Kemau to Kepamo, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Boakai, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday, from Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Focus on Liberia. Great show today. We got some of the best minds, as always. With me, my co-host Jimmy Eastman is in the house. My other co-host, long time, the original co-host, Mr. Michael Patmore is here. And with me, obviously, the more eloquent Mr. Elvis Morris is here. Joseph Boakai's grandson from 7 units here. Oh, I'm sorry. The supporter of Joseph Weah, Mr. Kamara, is in the house. And our special guest, Mr. Joseph Tower, all the way from the south. I think it's Houston, Texas. He's an oil man. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a great show. Share this show. Call your friends. Everybody in your network, get involved. This is time for us to be loose. Listen, the burden of proof. The heavy burden has shifted from Michael Patmore, Jerome Gateman, Elvis, Mr. Jimmy Eastman. It is now on the shoulders of Mr. Aliu Kamara to tell us what is it that this new government is going to do. We are talking about our port, the ATM terminal. From what I understand, the prices have even gone up since Joseph Weah got elected. Weah has a vested interest. He signed out ugly contract. He has it, but that's besides the point. Let's go to the point. Mr. Patmore, welcome. I'm on fire today. Let's go, my brother. How you doing there?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you so much. It's always great to be here. So let's go.
Mr. Eastman, you are in the nation's capital. There's a lot going on in Liberia. We are ready to rumble. We see it, like they say, between Joel Fraser and Muhammad Ali. It is a rumble in the jungle. How you doing there, sir?
It is looking very, very interesting because not only do we see the turnover of power, but we see the invisible hand of the U.S. trying to drive the course as they are putting more and more officials on sanctions and also challenging the Boakai administration to prosecute those indicated officials. So it appears we're about to embark on a completely new agenda for Liberia, and the U.S. will have their hands in it. So we got a lot to talk about.
Excellent. Let me go down to our newcomer, latecomer here, Mr. Anthony Gay. We're giving you a pass for the you are about 4 minutes late. If you come back to work the next time, 4 minutes, we'll cut your hours. Go ahead, Mr. Gay. How you doing there?
I'm doing good. Good evening, everyone. Good to be back, and I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Excellent. Please share the show, ladies and gentlemen. Go into your messenger and just tap about 50 folks, and let's get this conversation going. There is no platform that have the expertise and the know-how as this platform does. When it's 4 o'clock in the East Coast, it is on point. Mr. Taiwo, how you doing there, sir? Welcome back.
I'm doing very good. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Mr. Elvis, you stood on this stage one day and you said, I know that I want to brace myself. I want to put on my armor. I want to believe that I should be ready for the eventuality of this old man becoming president of the Republic of Liberia. I have to take out my hat to you. You saw something that we didn't see. Welcome, Mr. Elvis.
Thank you, Mr. Gavin, but I don't want to give myself too much credit. I think the credit goes to Mr. Ali Kamara. He saw it a long, long time ago and been professional. But I'm so excited to be alive in this time at this moment because what's going on in our country is really interesting. I think we all have something to say about it. So I'm glad to be on the platform to share my thoughts.
Excellent, Mr. Kamara. You said here they cut out the ear of a man, and you said that's what happens if you don't listen. They cut your ear. We talk about a man that was dying. They killed 5 people in Lofa. You said Uncle Joe is okay. We have the sitting Liberian representative by the name of whatever his name is, went into the police station and said, I'm going to kill this guy. If it comes to this time, I'm going to murder him. I have done it before, and my people elected me. I will kill. That me. What his name?
Yumale
said, I will kill this person. I have done it before. I did it for my people that elected me. If it comes to this is the chief of the immigration or Liberian law enforcement officer. He said, I will kill the person. Finally,
yeah, I think former representative also from Lofa.
Yes. He's not former yet because he's still there until January. Mr. Kamara, welcome.
Why you gotta be like this, man?
Hold on 1 minute. Mr. Eastman, there is a saying here, Mr. Pablo, they say, why he who wears the crown, what? The guy who wears the crown knows the weight. The crown is not on your head. When you were here bashing CDC, when CDC wore the crown, it was heavy. You were bashing it. Now you say, why am I like this? Mr. Kamara, welcome to this show. You in your new capacity, got glasses on. You got
right?
You're ready to fight. How you doing that, sir?
Mr. Kamara is speechless.
Mr. Kamara, you keep dancing into the studio now. You don't want to talk. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. This is what the Unity Party has for us. There you go. We are not here to run him out of town, but that's exactly what he has done. Go back out and come back in. Mr. Eastman, you are the diplomat here. You always torso, Mr. Torso and torso.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm an unapologetic, unabashed supporter of the CDC and President Weah. We will never abandon the PAPD. So that's for sure we are here. But what is going on, you said it, something is going on in Liberia that we have to have a conversation about. We have to sit around the table and talk about what's happening to us. So let's start with Mr. Tweah and Mr. Kojee's sanction and the response from the outgoing finance minister.
Well, there are 2 different attitudes toward the response. Kojee attitude was more, as if he wanted to seek some vindication. He didn't mention how it might affect his family, but he also seemed to believe that the U.S. was misguided and misinformed, and that what landed him on that list. And coincidentally, Minister Tweah also gave a reason for why he landed on that list. And his reason was that he was caught between rivaling mining corporations. Now, that was kind of a far reach, in my impression, because it doesn't appear that the U.S. government will sanction somebody because you only showed an economic interest on one side. I don't think that will be enough. But we have also heard that one of the mining magnates has been nestling up to the UP administration of recent. I think his name is Friedman. And so there is some hint of something going on in our mining and concession area, but it is clear from all the indications of all the past sanctions that it is corruption that the U.S. government is targeting. And they are aware of a certain activity that they can prove. And should the Liberian government request the information, I'm sure they were going to be willing to provide it. This has been said. And the current representatives to Liberia is in fact challenging the Boakai administration to go after the accused. So because a lot is in the making. I've also heard of this was an attempt for dismantling the CDC, where I do know that Kojee does control some of the more militant members of the group. And this may be an attempt to kind of avoid or avert any reactionary, militant reactionary displays, and because we want peace in that country. So that is an interesting point that he mentioned. But if it is to keep the peace, well, a lot of people, including the PUL and several other members of the Liberian community, have welcomed these sanctions. So there's not much. I'm not sure how much sentiment they are going to get, because currently that's what they're appealing for, public sentiment. But given the nature of things, it doesn't appear that they will get that much public sentiment.
Great. Mr. Padmore, we are looking at the sanction here. I think whether you like it or not, these sanctions, the most recent one, they are contrary to the U.S. own constitution, the U.S. own Bill of Rights, in which they say a crime, if there's any, no one is a criminal until you are duly charged, you appear in the court of competent jurisdiction and found guilty. And even at that, crime is not transferable. So how could you say a child that was born in the United States or the United States citizens, you are saying the man is sanctioned?
Somebody noise in your background, man. Who's that?
Somebody it has to be Anthony Gates, another engineer. I don't know where you get your engineering degree then from. But crimes are not transferable. How can you say we sanction you and not only your children, but your minor, the babies? Mr. Padmore, this is unprecedented. I never heard it. In this country, the United States does not sanction or criminalize minors. We don't take minors to court. We don't even call their name or show their faces when they commit a crime. Go ahead.
Well, they might not, the United States might not put it on paper, but when things affect parents, they affect the minors. You know, and that's just a part of it. You know, when things affect parents, they affect the minors. If you notice that it did not affect the adult children, because we believe that adults can make their own decisions. So if an adult allows their father to take unscrupulous money and put in their account, then that adult will pay for their own sins. But what I believe the American government was trying to avoid is money laundering, basically where these people are buying properties in the name of their children, where these people are putting money in accounts in their children's name, but also most importantly, what we see a lot in Liberia is that these people get into power, immediately they send their children abroad because they don't have any intention of improving the school system in Liberia. They have no intention of improving the healthcare system in Liberia. So what do? They send their children to the US. Their children go to the best schools. They live in mansions. They have all this lavish lifestyle, and they stay in Liberia. They won't leave Liberia. They have no intention of leaving Liberia. They send their wife and children to America to enjoy our hard-earned wealth, and then they stay in Liberia and commit their crimes. And I believe the American government is saying no to that anymore. That if you embezzle money from the Liberian people, you, your wife, and all your minor children will stay right in Liberia, and will keep eye on all of you. You know, and I think that is the best thing. I think this is long overdue. Okay, we sit on Facebook here and we watch these people, children travel all over the world, live lavish lifestyle, post it all on Facebook. We see it every weekend. You know, it is time now that it stops. So whether you Abachi on a child, or you Jefferson Kojee on a child, or you whoever on a child, if your father does wrong, you know, it will follow you. The sins of the father will follow the children. The Bible says it. So I believe that's where they're at, and I believe it is correct. You know, it is correct. Now, if you're an adult child, you shouldn't be responsible for what your father does. You know, you should be able to think for yourself. And you should be able to separate yourself and say, Papa, that thing you're doing, my hand out inside, I'm begging you. And you go carry on your life the way you carry. I think it should be an encouragement to the adult children to say, you know what, I've read the sanction, and I'm not part of it, and my pa won elections. Maybe he's going to be senator for Lofa County or Kidman County or wherever. And Papa, I just want to tell you right now, before you go and tell that to the people place, please, I won't have no dealing with you, no monetary dealing with you, no back and forth to do dealing with you, because I don't want tomorrow for the American government to come and sanction me because I'm your child. And I think that's great. I think it's long overdue.
Great. Mr. Elvis Morris, for the first time, I have to disagree publicly with Michael Padmore. This other logic is so backward.
Mr. Gabriel, don't go there. Don't go there. Let me take the point. Don't take it before I say it. I will respectfully disagree with Mr. Michael Padmore. And the reason is, like, I think what he meant is should be in the inverse rather than what he was purporting, because the reality is minor children are not at the capacity where they can make conscious decisions and understand its ramifications. So if you're going to sanction a child who is not yet at the age of majority, and for the crimes of their father, that is injustice 101. In this country, we know nobody can do the time when somebody else committed the crime. So if you're saying it's justifiable that the kids who are minors don't really even know what their father do for work, don't know how the father is making his or her money, his money, and then say that it's justifiable to sanction that child for the crimes of the father, for me is irreverent. You know, it's not something that I can put my weight behind. One of the things I want to say here is that how can these guys get off the sanction? That's the question I actually want to ask. How can they get off the sanction? Because as Liberians, we can liken that to Nigerians who see the UK or England as their second home, the place they aspire to go and live and have a good life. Many Liberians see this United States as a place to aspire and come and live a decent life. How can they get off the sanction? Because this is a sanction that is saying, well, we don't want you in our country because of the crimes that you committed in your country. But we know in this country, I don't know if it's only for the United States, on American soil, but you're innocent until proven guilty. So have the United States court, whether it's the international court in this country or whatever court that this process will go through, found these guys guilty and thereby ban them from their country. Because if these guys want to come here, you have to prove that they're guilty in whatever court and then ban them from coming here. If it's stipulated based on the investigation that will be done in Liberia, that too hasn't happened yet. So even if they go to court and vindicate themselves, not vindicate, but exonerate themselves, are they still going to be eligible to be on the sanction because America said that they were guilty? You can see a man killing a man in the street. A man can take a gun and shoot another man in his head, and you can see it, but that man is not yet a convicted murderer. You have to go to court, go through the processes, and prove that he actually committed the act that he's being accused of. So these guys may have committed these acts that the American government is accusing them of doing. Many of us will suspect that, most likely it's true, but our assumption is not, a presumption of guilt, a conviction. So I would say. So my biggest thing is Jefferson Kojee, Tweah and other people. They have the means and the resources to hire good lawyers, international lawyers, to try to prove their case. If there was mistaking on the part of the American government, they can prove that case. But where's the court that they can go to prove this case? I know Ben Ayer was on the sanction list. He advocated through some international means and got off of it. We don't know how he did it because he never went to court to prove that he didn't steal money from maritime. He was not running guns for child slaughter. I don't know how the American government came to that realization that, in fact, Ben Ayer was not running guns and therefore should be off the sanction, because we in Liberia knew he was definitely running arms to the Freeport for child stealing when he was at the maritime director. So how did he get off the sanction list? That would be my question. But I think America is putting their hands on the skills. They did this before the election, and many of us kind of glanced over it. When it sanctioned Weah's opponent and sanctioned Prince Johnson, and explicitly said that Weah should not do, or not Weah, but implying that Weah should not do business with Prince Johnson. Anyone caught doing business with Prince Johnson risk, the likelihood of being sanctioned himself. And we have our president-elect who did business with Prince Johnson in the open, and there's not been any whisper of maybe there'll be some ramification for his actions taken, contrary to what the American government was intending when they put the sanction on Prince Johnson. So we have to be balanced. Although we all want to move on from these elections and not be partisan, but we have to look at it as putting your thumb on the scale when it came to the CDC. And we're seeing it here again. As somebody said, they're trying to dismantle the CDC government and dismantle some of the key players and discombobulate the movement for democratic change so that it'll have no political future in the country. And I think that's something. I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Mr. Tao, you are a person who has always spoken based on what you know about our natural resources and the game that is intended to be played and how they're going to play it. Basically, you have the playbook, and you mentioned it. I think several also agree with you. We saw it, and I think I'm seeing something very similar here in this sanction. At the end of the sanction, there was something there that caught when Ms. Rodriguez spoke. Somebody asked her whether there was evidence to be presented. She said this is a non-judicial process. The public is our witness. Mr. Tao will touch on that for me.
I think he's muted.
All right, got them in the meantime. I'm already.
Yeah.
Well, is it muted still?
No.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, we hear you.
From my knowledge and understanding on how the so-called international community led by the U.S. and their allies work, I look at this differently, and I will encourage us as Liberians who have some desire to want to see our country to be good and to prosper, to look at things from Liberia's interest and not from the individuals or not from a political party. And this is why. These sanctions, like somebody talking about going to court, and these sanctions are not meant to be proven. That is how that sanctions are projection of power to influence something in the interest of the mother country that is issuing that sanction. Sanctions are never in the interest of the nation in which those sanctions are originating from. So once we establish this, because I don't want us to like, oh, whether he stole money or that is not even why these sanctions are issued. These sanctions are basically issued when they're trying to effect some kind of change in the interest of so-called their foreign policy in their interest. So Mr. Morris asked the question. Benin that Euro was sanctioned. I wonder how did he get off the sanction? Euro was never sanctioned because he did anything in Liberia. That is not why. Because they didn't give any real clear thing to say what he did in Liberia. And when the sanction was removed, the Liberian people were never consulted to say, look, he did all of these things, he corrected them, and now these are the sanctions removed. So he paid some money, pretty much what I would consider extortion in some sense. You pay some money, and when you satisfy certain things, certain turf is out of turnover, or certain cooperations are met the way you will serve certain interests, and then the sanctions are removed. But let me come to a point here. You see, as a Liberian who don't support any political party unless Liberia's interest, because my desire is what I will call a Liberian center desire, right? Guys like Tweah, they were finance minister. I don't know any of these guys. I don't support any of them, whether it's Boakai or Ellen or Weah or any of them. But I look at what they did. How dare these people go ahead and grab $25 million, walk around in the street in Monrovia, claim that they brought it to some money changer that they. So stuff like this. And the reason I'm mentioning this, there are many more, even from the Ellen, but we are talking about this right here. When the Liberian people spoke, these people gave no, they don't care about the Liberian people's position. They just dismissed them. Not just this government, all the other government. But then what happened? When America speaks, they all fall on the knees. So this let us know that your government don't belong to you. And the officials in the government, in the very government, are the ones that constantly create the condition for America or whoever that is powerful to project this kind of power. Because if they were trying to be accountable to their own people and listen to their own people, then you reduce the chances of America or anybody else trying to step in and carry on the type of influence, at least this open, right? But if they don't listen to the Liberian people, what do the Liberian people always do? They march to the U.S. embassy. They march to the EU office. Then what happened? Then you give power to the people. But back to the point, these sanctions are never meant to be proven. These sanctions are meant to influence and to project power and to extract certain things.
Thank you.
That they want.
Great.
So even if it's a lie, it's justifiable that the sanction is to influence for a specific outcome.
But listen, guys. Mr. Kamara.
Yes, sir.
Here we are. A new government is coming in. In the United States, I think you are familiar with the term the invisible hands that wants to control folks. They are now coming out and doing things and saying things. Some say, in a lot of our talk, our chatter, both of them say, this is not all about CDC. It's actually all about the incoming government. They are trying to do this. They're trying to do that. You and I, we disagree on a lot of stuff, but we have always agreed on the Liberian nationality, Liberian nationalism. We are talking about our country. And when Charles Taylor was going out to Calabar, he says, have I known what I know now, I would have just listened to the United States. Whatever they told me, I would have done, and I won't be in this. Here we are, Mr. Kamara. I don't like this sanction thing that is coming. I said it before. The only sanction that I supported was Vanny Sherman because the independent organization, okay, in the European countries came out. They provided proof openly, transfer money, account, money payable to him, money transfer, check, money transfer from account to account, money divided. They had to provide all the proof, global witness for everybody to peruse. It was right after that when Vanny Sherman made a comment, let them take me to court. When you take me to the Supreme Court, it's like taking fish to the water. There's nothing going to happen to me. And then the United States put the sanction. Mr. Kamara, what do you see about this sanction? How does it affect us? Are we supposed to be in this position in the first place?
Okay.
Guys,
Somebody phone keep ringing. You gotta mute that, please.
Everybody, please mute while he speaks. Go ahead.
Thank you. You know, the last part of everything you said, the last part is what I really took. Why are we in this position? First of all, let's understand that the American government clearly stated that this is a political sanction. Anybody looking for evidence, I say good luck. Look, let me just touch on it for 1 second, Mr. Gilbert. Ben did nothing, no reason for them to have put Ben on sanction. When Ben through his lawyers pushed the State Department, they said Ben bought a helicopter for $500,000 or more. Ben produced the invoices and the order coming from the commander-in-chief to pay to a third-party company for the helicopter. That was Ben crime. Now, let me say this to people, to Liberian people. If you had a better society, if you better your society, better your human capacity development in there, where you have a home where people need you more than you need them, you wouldn't be crying because somebody said leave my country.
Yep.
Because you will have a suitable place to go to, a place much better than where they're driving you from. For a finance minister of a country to stand up among people and cry because another country stopped him from going to their country, that tells me that he has no loyalty, no love for Liberia, nothing whatsoever. If you build and develop your country and create those basic necessities, you wouldn't be worried about who tells you not to go to their country or go to their country. For example, prior to the thing NATO did in Libya, Libyans did not give a damn whether they went to America or not, because each Libyan was making at least $500 when they were unemployed. Unemployed, no job, $500, which is a good amount of money in Libya. What they have,
anyway, in the world, that's a lot of money.
Well, not in America, you know. So they were doing good, running water, electricity. That was 24/7.
Getting power and national security. They're happy with him, man.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you is, these are things you're supposed to really look at. These are the things that we're supposed to be looking at, how we can be more nationalistic. And to do so is not about speaking or revolutionizing stuff. It's about actually doing the work. It's easy for us to go and memorize grammars from the dictionary and go on different platforms and speak all these vocabularies. But the reality is we have nothing to show for it. Let us together think, love, and build this Liberia here that we're talking about.
Political slogan.
Come on, you're getting mentioned. Go ahead.
Yes, you know what? We're talking CPP. I won't be talking about. But anyway, you know, so I'm not worried about this sanction. But what I would tell you, though, Mr. Gilman, is that I think the sanction thing is bothering you so much because it's affecting CDC now. Brandon Sherman, when you say you saw evidence, but the thing is, the thing is this. Let me say this: Boakai, the Boakai that I know as a kid growing up, that Boakai will not arrest anyone just because a third party said that they are on sanction. Mark this today. Boakai will go through the process of investigation, not investigating the sanction though. Investigating the Ministry of Finance, auditing the Ministry of Finance from the ground floor to the 11th floor. So he will do all of those other departments and offices. And anybody found guilty under Liberian laws, these people will be dealt with. The reason why Joseph Boakai dealt with Benin, even when Benin was sanctioned, was because Joseph Boakai did not believe in that stuff. The reason Joseph Boakai dealt with Prince Johnson is because the issue of doing business is not defined. What is Prince Johnson's crime? You say this X, Y, Z, but then you say your process is not a judicial process; it's a political process. So why should we waste our time? So hey, listen, We will go through the process. All of these people, I believe that Mr. Finance Minister will go to jail. I believe that. I believe that most of these guys, including Jefferson Kojee, will go to jail. I believe that a great portion of their properties will be confiscated. But I think we're making too much of the sanction. If you're a finance minister and you cry because somebody else banned you from going to their country, shame on you.
Great. Mr. Gay, I have a considerable amount of investment in Liberia. In fact, a guy went to my home.
Must show all the places.
Listen, went to my home in Tinker Village, and he called me here and said, I see where you're getting all your money from. Weah is giving you money. This is somebody who doesn't know me. No, actually, at the time, know me personally. That I've been working in Liberia way before CDC and Weah came, and knows my investment things that we've been doing there. But he got up and said that it tells me that in Liberia, anybody, and somebody told me, he said, that's how during the Civil War, a lot of people got killed. Someone just come and said, oh, this man did this, that man, and people go after you. Mr. Gay, in particular, I think Mr. Kamara has a point here, and I hate to quote this guy, but I had to quote him. I'm talking about Prince Yomi Johnson. When they asked him, said, Prince, you have been sanctioned by the United States. You won't go to the United States. He laughed, he sat back, he said, listen, I own no property in the United States. I own no money in the United States. I have no investment in the United States. Everything I own is in this country. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to eat my GB. I'm going to sleep here. My family is here. Liberia is enough for me. If Liberians, if we had that mentality that, listen, let's develop here, Trump says, if you start stealing your own money and bringing it here, and you develop your country, your people will not be dying in the sea to cross every day dying. Develop your country. We have enough money. We don't need your money. Prince Johnson proved to us that even if they sanction me, I don't have to go to the United States. My children here, my investment here, I got my farm here, I will eat my GB here, fine.
Senator Eldrin Snow have been sanctioned for about 10 years now, if I'm not mistaken. He's living loud.
We're no longer on it.
Okay, but you were on the sanction for at least close to 10 years.
Yeah. And you still have not been able to come here. That's correct.
But yes, the thing, I don't want to defeat my own argument like Mr. Kamara did. The sanction itself is in play for a reason. The level, the culture of impunity in Liberia, and that is the reason why the U.S. Congress went to work and passed a new law that gave them the prosecutorial power to prosecute international officials, government officials who they deem are corrupt, to have that power to prosecute them, not just levying sanction on them. And that law had just passed a couple of days ago.
Yes, yeah, that works.
Right? And the only reason why these things will continue to happen is that
Mr. Gay, real quick, if you sanction the man, you say the man cannot come to the United States, how are you going to persecute him here?
Well, the
man country get law. How you just
the law just passed. The law is not in effect yet. It has just passed. It has to take time to get in effect. In the implementation of the law, they will lay out everything that will take place, right? Just like the Magnitsky Act passed in 2016 under Obama's watch and came to effect in 2017 under Trump's watch, right? So once it comes into effect, all of the nuances will be spelled out. Right now, it just became a law. It's not in effect, so there are some nuances they still have to work on, right? But I'm just saying, the reason why these things will continue to happen the way it happened, look at the Liberian legislature. The Speaker of the House make more money than the Speaker of the U.S. Congress. That is a fact, right? But when something happens, who do we run to? The same United States. United States is the highest donor to Liberia of all the donors country. So these people are using the taxpayer dollar that's supposed to be carrying on, initiative development here, and are using it on our country. And then when something happens, when they take a stand, then we say, "Oh, we are a sovereign nation. We are a sovereign nation." But we don't value our own sovereignty when we are given the opportunity to, And so that's the reason why things like this will be happening. Can the Liberian government sit down and put a sanction on any U.S. official? Can they do so? Absolutely not. But the United States can do so because of the stand that they have in our country. We don't value our own, like the Mr. Tweah said. Minister Tweah was heard on ELBC that he went down Nukuta and saw some money changer and they did some map-up exercise. A very unorthodox, behavior for the financial practice. Where have you heard that before? Map-up exercises have been done around, even in the very Africa that I grew up. It was done. They called that term valuation of the banknotes, right? They did that, and it was successful, right? So map-up exercises are not bad things. They are economic measure to address certain things like mutilated notes and other different things, or infuse enough currency in the marketplace and other different things. These are economic measures that can be put in place. However, though, when that happened, the Crow report, even our own GSE, the General Audit Commission, report that they released implicated that Samuel Tweah did things wrong. Variances, there were a lot of variances, meaning in economics, things are not adding up, right? And nothing happened still. With all the report that came, the Crow report, the GSE report, nothing happened to these guys, right? And you cannot be running to the United States for help. After the war, post-war, United States built our armed forces of Liberia, the AFL. They did a lot of things in Liberia for us to continue the path that we on today. The very trajectory, the peaceful Liberia that we have today, post-war. America has invested a lot of taxpayer dollars. So today, for me, I'd rather something be done than nothing be done at all. And that something has to be done, that is a sanction. Now, the reason why the new law was passed, because sanction was levied on individual, and those individuals was glorified, were celebrated. Today, they have become lawmakers of the 55th. They will take office in the second week in January. They will be part of the new 55th legislature of Liberia. The Bill Traore, the Nathaniel Magee. I mean, what are we saying to ourselves? What standard are we setting for our children to come? Are we a nation of laws? Lawmakers sat down in Liberia and drafted a law called what? Tailing. Do we have such thing called tailing in Liberia? We don't. That is driving on the opposite side.
Mr. Gavin, please give me 30 seconds. Let me respond to Anthony again.
Could you post that law or quote the law you were talking about? Thirdly, you said they drafted a law. Say thirdly.
Yeah, there's a law in Liberia called tailing.
Where they can drive on the side, on the shoulder of the road. That it is congested.
Drive in the middle of the yellow line. They divide a yellow line. They drive in the middle of it.
Great.
Because they have to get to work. Let me get 30 seconds, please, Mr. Gavin, please.
So, I mean,
Mr. Pablo, via you, Freddie. Without anywhere with Freddie.
Yes, where I want to hold
let's go.
my third branch. Yeah, but let me end with this. Yes, where I want to hold my third branch of government, which is the judicial branch of government, right? The Ministry of Justice need to take action in these things.
Ministry of Justice, part of the executive.
People. What are the evidence that you have for which you sanction these people? Then work alongside with the United States government, Treasury Department, or State Department to see what these things like. Does it apply? Does our law allow these things and other different things? But nothing happened. We're just sitting there. We are not in government. We pondering. We are wondering what's going on. I mean,
Anthony, please give me 30 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will start with Anthony Gay. I think he contradicted himself in his statement. You asked the question. Yes, you asked the question. What if the Liberian people come? Who are we? Shouldn't we be a nation of laws? Why would they elect McGill and Tweah? In the same breath, we all said that these sanctions were political and not based on evidence. At least that's what the American government told us. So why would the people of Mark Gibby and the people of Riverside say, well, these guys have been accused of America by America. We haven't seen any evidence. They haven't been prosecuted. They haven't been convicted. But because America accused them, we would not vote for them to be senators. You know, so you trying to put the onus on on the people of Riverside and my Gibby that they should not have elected these people senators because America said that these people were corrupt. It's not enough. That's what Mr. Kamara said. If Joseph Boakai himself is going to come into office without the evidence, he's not going to prosecute these people just simply because the American government said it. And then lastly, I will get to you, Mr. Kamara, where you were talking about Tweah. I think Tweah was specific, particularly hit hard by these sanctions because let's not forget, he lived in the United States. He had a child in his country. A lot of us here, we have families who we are attached to. Some people have mortgages and homes and other interests in this country. So somebody like yourself, I'm sure you have a family in these United States. If they ban you from coming, if you went to Liberia and whatever happened, unfortunate events, and you got in some trouble, and they ban you from coming back to see your family, that's something that will be devastating to you. It's not just simply because he wants to come to America to enjoy, but he has families and other financial, maybe not even financial, but other significant ties to this country. That's the reason why I think he felt somewhat aggrieved by the sanction. So Kojee don't really care about it, and other people don't care about it.
He lost a horse. He lost a reason.
Let me go back to number one here. That Mr. Eastman. Mr. Eastman, the United States is talking about corruption, that they want to stop corruption around the world. My own senator in New Jersey, Menendez, have been indicted for doing business, stealing, corruption, taking gold bullion, almost $2 million in cash in his house.
And they're asking you to resign
from Egypt. Okay?
Yeah.
Using his office, using his senatorial office, and doing business with Egypt. And in some cases, they are talking about charging with espionage because he was trading other things that were beyond his office. And he's sitting here, and they say they have to take him through the process. Through the process. The FBI had the evidence, but they still have to take him through the process. And
go to Biden's son, Hunter Biden. What's going on with him also, Mr. Gamer?
That's correct. But then, Mr. Eastman, they are saying the sanction when you go to the Magnitsky Act, when you go to the Treasury Department, it says clearly the sanction were never meant to be punitive. They were corrective action intended. I mean, they want you to correct your action, but it shouldn't be punitive. But when you tell the person can't travel, not only that, but the person, minor children, cannot enjoy the benefits of the United States because you are Mr. Eastman, you see where the contradiction is here?
Eastman, I get computer. Move to the next person. Computer four.
Mr.
Can I have my 30 seconds, please?
No. Mr. Eastman is stuck, so go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 30 seconds inside everything.
Okay.
1 minute, 30 seconds.
But Mr. Eastman is back there. I see him moving.
You may not get computer, man. You may not engineer, you can't buy computer.
Something is continually muting me as I mute, my brother. So look on that side. Something is muting me. Okay.
No, that Uncle Sam is watching you.
Let me tell you, sanctions, let's say generally speaking, are imposed by a larger country, on a smaller country for basically two reasons. One is there's a perceived security threat, right? And the other one that they try to coerce behavior in a certain direction from the smaller country. So what we haven't seen in Liberia up to this date is after these sanctions have been imposed, we haven't seen the next level. Where else will the U.S. go to ensure that the individual is affected by these sanctions? We haven't seen that much because we looked at Fannie Sherman, we looked at Ben Yuri, we looked at what was the other guy? Was Prince John. Okay, they can, if they want, take actions against those sanctioned officials. We've seen that in South America with Noriega, all those other people. So what does it mean for us? I think that's the most significant thing here. What does it mean for us? It means for us that I honestly believe that the U.S. government is empowering this next administration to go after people who siphon funds from the Liberian people. Liberia has been suffering for decades. America has been coming to our aid. I mean, we've had projects that they've received up to $1 billion, like the LEC project. And up to now, we don't have electrification where it needs to be. So the only way they found out now that they have to find a way to help us bring down impunity. And I think what we're about to witness, like I began in when the show, we're about to see whether that this unity party will be the first government to go after people who have stolen and siphoned funds from the Liberian people. That is what we're all willing to see happen in the next administration. And that is why we see more and more, just at the point on where they're even going to turn over, there's been more sanctions imposed. That is directly to tell us that they want to, and then it's coupled with a statement from the U.S. representative in Liberia that they want to see the administration go after these people. I think we're about to see a new era when it comes to sanctions in Liberia.
Please, can I have 30 seconds before we move on to the
ahead.
next topic?
Yeah, go ahead.
30 seconds. Thank you. Evans has been smiling. 30 seconds. Okay, look. I see everybody dancing around this stuff here. Okay? Let's be factual. All the people that were sanctioned from day one up to now, anyone occupy our name on the champion boat for the people? No. We all know the people were stealing. It was there.
It was blurry.
They were stealing. The thing is, our system, we acting like to say when the American people come on and speak, that's the only time they have said something. Sanctions is like the last alternative. All of us know that. Look, they have diplomatic channels. When the people started to steal, the American government told them long ago. You remember when the EU and the European people came up and told the Judicial government, wrote the letter to the Judicial government and said, the money you took from where can you go put it back? You think that was the first time they communicated that? No, there was diplomatic communication behind the scenes. Saying, look, our money you can put it, our money you can put it back, our money you can put it back. You know? And so sanctions is the last step. These people are corrupt. These American men are communicating to the people. Look, you want money from us. You want for us to continue giving you our taxpayer money. Look what you're doing with your own money. You're allowing the people to steal the money. So now, say you can do anything, we'll put it aside. Let everybody know. That's what sanction is. It's that simple.
30 seconds, please.
You can put it on the chopping board for somebody.
Yeah, let me first of all, let me just tell the American government thank you for the sanction. I think the sanction that they put on these people will actually determine how the next generation of leaders will behave. I think that's the only impact. The next generation, like somebody said, if Liberians don't come to America, they haven't gone anywhere. And therefore, they don't want to be sanctioned. They will do their best to be at least less corrupt than the predecessor. But here is some things to look at here. All of these things that Liberians are doing today in Liberia, America enabled them. Let's be honest here. America enabled them. When Samuel Doe and others brutally killed Talbot, what happened? The American government sent a whole entourage, arranging for bilateral ties between the two countries. Samuel Doe became ally of the United States of America. All right? When the United States of America could not find their interest through, they allowed Chancellor to come down and say, Chancellor, escape from jail. Chancellor ought to escape from jail here. Burn everything, destroy everything. Then he spent $290 million to what you call the security sector and say, well, America has been doing this, America has been doing that. Listen, let's be historically factual. Everything America did in Liberia was based on American interests. The airport was built because America wanted to fight war. The seaport was built because America wanted to move goods up and down. Okay? So nothing America really did for Liberia because it loved Liberia, the strategic interest. Let's understand that.
Okay,
Let's move on.
But when you
let
do
me just
something
close
for
on
country
that.
that you don't have interest in,
ladies and gentlemen,
I don't know why you believe in America.
listen. No, let's move to the next topic here.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
1 minute. I'm coming
10
to
seconds.
you. I'm coming to you, Mr. Taiwo. When I come to you, then I want you to use your first 10 seconds to address what we're doing, and then you go to number 2 here. The number 2 thing on this particular list that we need to talk about, that I think all Liberians should talk about, and this sanction thing, we just, you know, for me to say I accuse somebody of stealing, I have to have the proof, which we all do not have. What we are saying, we are accusing folks, we are doing this. We don't have any empirical proof that yes, this person did something, that person did something. Now, the number 2 question would be, Dr. Tenny from the University of Liberia went on to say he will use all his power, whatever power he has, on the grassroots level to make sure that what they did to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, they will do it to George Weah by expelling him from the political party. And in so doing, PUP came and said, you got to be out of your mind. Mr. Taiwo, you got next.
Yeah. So quick to just wrap up on the sanction thing for 10 seconds. Kamara point is the point that I made earlier, and he took it further. If we had our own country and our government officials were to do what needed to be done to make everything to be effective, all the infrastructure, at least to a good extent, there will be no need for them to cry. The U.S. sanction people all over the world all the time, China, everywhere else, and they don't whine about it. They don't go have a whole press conference. You don't even hear from them. But Morris says something that, and this is one of our major problems. He says something that Tweah is hit hard because he have kids here and they can't come here anymore, all of this stuff. But this is one of our problems. We have had 2 governments in 18 years. These governments were run by people from America, Liberians from America, in both governments, dominated every area. So when we want to talk about corruption, it is us, the group that is in America here, that is destroying Liberia. We have no commitment to that place. We live here. We have mortgages here. We leave our children here. We go there only to loot. The moment that job is over, we run back here. We line up for the next job. That have to stop. In order for Liberia to do well-meaning Liberians that are in the U.S. that have some kind of skill, that are honest. It's not just about the person is an expert. Experts can be criminal. So that's the people that will go, but we need to be able to empower the domestic base, because they who don't have any or means of leaving that place, that is their country, that is their place, that is where they are. They will be able to at least commit. Let that be the next one. And the last point is, yes, the U.S. empower the Liberian or the government for them to be corrupt. How dare the U.S. is able to go ahead and subsidize the budget of a country where they sat there on Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and agreed for representatives and senators to make that kind of money. And then you turn around and subsidize them when they're depleting the entire budget on income. And then you are subsidized. Stop subsidizing them.
It keeps them poor. That's the point. You got to keep them poor.
Yeah, that's it. That's the point. So what they did was our whole budget is used on ink, on pay, and other stuff. Then when we need to do projects, then we are at their mercy. Yeah. The $1 billion stuff that Mr. talking about. That $1 billion, which companies that ran the project is American and European companies. They took the money from their own people, stole it, took some Liberia money, paid themselves, did their own so-called feasibility study, rehab the hydro, and they took all the money, and there is no power. Okay, now to the point of
No, it's not 30 seconds. This is his time to speak.
Dr. Tenny, address the Dr. Tenny thing.
Yes. So for the Dr. Tenny, I really don't know this guy. But what happened here is that we have to look at the CDC. For you guys, the CDC, I'm not familiar with their constitution or what it says. But from what I'm sensing here, with respect to, because I've been hearing this. Could it be that because they felt that Judge Weah should not have tried to concede, that they wanted to kind of hang in there to fight to hold on to power, that his concession that came too early? Could this be one of the reasons? And you can see what's happening here. Kojee spoke because it's connected. That Judge Weah was at an international conference, that he left the conference, he cut it short because Kojee was sanctioned. And that is why Judge Weah needed to come quick to address that. Judge Weah, Judge Weah is not going to address that. Judge Weah, can I address that? We don't even know what kind of pressure Weah is under. Judge Weah's wife is an American, his kids are. It's possible that he himself is. And so, as an American citizen serving in those capacity is already of some kind of violation, if that was the case. So we don't even know what kind of pressure he's under, trying to look out for himself and his family. And here are these guys that were put in place. These guys were put in place, yet Judge Weah hired them. They failed. The Summit 12 failed. The Kojee was too busy all over the place at every campaign site instead of doing the job that he was hired
wearing
to do.
Gucci.
And
wearing
then when
Gucci.
Okay.
And when they sanction them, then he started to think that the government, that the president need to come in and speak. So you can see all of them, they're trying to pull the president into this sanction stuff that is going, and the president is not going to come in that direction. The president already told them that he conceded, that they defeated themselves, that they should come together, they should let this stuff go, they should regroup for 2029, and you see them, they're trying to pull him into this, and I don't think so. I want to believe maybe that's where some of this stuff is coming from. But if they force to conclude, if they force Judge Weah out of the CDC is done.
CDC is done.
As a CDC supporter, please let me respond to Mr. Taiwo. Please.
Real quick, let me go.
Yeah, quick.
Everybody talk, then you respond to
No, because I think Mr. Pavo, we are allies, my brother. We're not enemies. We're allies by force.
Mr. Pavo, I'm going to sanction you. I promise you, I'm going to sanction you.
No, every time that he get taught now, just put all together every talk one time.
Go ahead.
Let's go. Real quick, go ahead.
Mr. Gay goes in the guy said they want to give my strategy for me. I'll take it. Okay, quickly. I just want to correct Mr. Taiwo. Like he said, he's not too familiar with the CDC situation. Tenny was not saying this because of the sanction. He was saying it because he felt like Judge Weah didn't do well. He was in a cocoon. He didn't listen to to other people's advice, and like Judge Weah was a quote unquote inept leader. All of these things. He was just unhappy with the leadership of Judge Weah. But like you said, rightfully, if Judge Weah is out of the CDC, that's a large chunk of the CDC voting base that's going to be gone.
Yeah,
absolutely. So if you want to take President Weah out of the picture politically, you have to make him a kingmaker within the CDC. And I think it can be done tastefully. If you put a person like Cummings and you recruit Cummings, I keep advocating for Cummings. If not Weah, for me, Cummings. Because I think he has some of the qualities that Weah lacks, and the CDC as a political institution has the grassroots support that Cummings lacks. So I think it'll probably be a marriage, a made in heaven, if Cummings can come on board and have Weah's full, support, especially in the Southeast.
Why exactly are you talking about Lamborghinis?
Come on,
say that again?
The man earned out Ferrari, my man.
Listen. Go ahead.
Right. So for those of us who are sympathetic with the CDC, we think that would be a good strategy. My advice on the Friday show to President Weah was, if he still wants to be in politics, take this, this 6 years and better yourself. Get consultants, go to school on leadership and governance, become better. You saw it with Samuel Doe, the man who could better speak English after a few years. He was speaking proper English and could effectively communicate with the Liberian people. George, we have to do the same and even better. The people love him when they see that improvement. They'll say, well, this man is taking it seriously. He wants to improve himself. Look at how he's talking now compared to how he was before. But if you don't have any interest in politics, let Cummings take the realm of the CDC and use his base to win the presidency. And I think that mockery of CDC being an inept political party will be washed away, because Cummings come with a lot of experience, a lot of competence, and will be a great leader for the CDC, political party. Plus, he comes from the right region. CDC is heavily, favoring the southeast. Cummings is coming from there too. So there's already the seeds have already been sown. And if I was advising President Weah in the CDC higher echelon, I would say consider Cummings, because he's the right person that can give us some credibility, give us some boosted respect in the political space, and also he comes from the right region.
Great.
I'll leave it there.
Mr. Eastman, I think you're next.
Oh, I thought that was me.
No, I'm not.
No, not you. You're from CDB. Nobody got time for you.
Mr. Eastman. Anyway, let me go to Pat. We got Eastman.
No, I'm ready. I'm listening. I'm waiting for you to pause and finish speaking. But I think the initial question was about.
Listen. You look frozen and you're on delay. But let me go to you here. Mr. Tenny was disappointed from the very beginning when he wanted to become president of the University of Liberia, and George Weah appointed somebody else. On this last rant, he said he never took part in the second round election. He never voted, and everybody around him, he encouraged not to take part in the election. Now he is one of the 20,000 folks that caused the election to go to sway toward Judicial-Boakai. So he cannot sit here now and say it was George Weah was the cause for him to lose this election. No, he was one of those that caused George Weah to lose it. It's the inverse. And for you to look at what happened in the Unity Party and say we should repeat it by expelling Ellen Johnson, you are telling all to you that Dr. Tierney, you are out of order. You are so way out of order. It's a shame, Mr. Eastman.
Yeah, I got an issue with Dr. Tenny. A couple of months ago, he expressed his dissatisfaction with the administration of Dr. George Weah. He went all out, even went on a large platform, the Spoon platform, to express his concern and to make all kinds of accusations against the CDC. But then, all of a sudden, he stopped. We had expected there to be a series of revelations that he knew. But then he stopped talking, as if he consulted with higher members of the CDC and they came out with a solution. Then now, again, after a few months later, after the loss and defeat of the CDC, he comes back again telling us of his dissatisfaction with the administration. And then he talks for one day and he stops again. I see this as somebody who is inconsistent. Because if you're going to make the criticize and you're going to stand on your ground, if you're going to think it's necessary for you to make it public, then why do you stop? There's something holding you back. Obviously, you are compromised. Your decisions, your faith is based on something else, because had you been a man of your own judgment and came up and said this thing is wrong and I will not support it, why didn't you continuously say this? Why didn't you continue in that path? It tells us that Mr. Tenny is compromised in some way. And so you can't take everything. I mean, he may be saying something that is the truth, but he's not able to stand his ground and defend his beliefs. So for me, I will toss his thing out. I do believe, though, let's go back to the sanctions. I believe there's going to be some pressure to put some of these elected officials on trial and bring them down. And I would say it because it's too coincident that more sanctions are imposed right at the turn of power. So it is going to be, and just like somebody else said here, the U.S. knows how to use their power. It's unfortunate that we Liberians cannot be independent on our own. And what is the reasons? Well, it comes down to productivity. We don't produce. And the people who's supposed to handle the money, handle the infrastructure, do what they're supposed to do to make Liberian produce, they're not doing it. Okay? They can come from America, they come from Europe, they can come from Bukonje. I don't care. The idea they're not doing it. And we are responsible for our own destiny. I still don't believe in blaming somebody else, even though I know they have affected us. But I still say we can always decide our destiny. So this UP government has a lot in front of it, because I know they're going to find the economy in shatters. They're going to have to regroup the economy. Where they're going to get the money, they have amassed a lot of debt, and the revenue intake is low. Plus, they have these the issue of corruption sitting center stage. So I think all they're trying to do is give this administration the impetus they need to carry out corruption reforms to stop the bleeding to some extent, and that's the main issue. If Tenny, Dr. Tenny, was a man of his conviction, he should have pursued the course he took a couple of months ago and not come back at this time.
Good. Mr. Anthony Gay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get too long.
Mr. Gay, it's so funny that Tenny is blaming President Weah for the law, but then he said, I didn't take part in the election and I told all my friends not to go. So, I mean, the guy is conflicted. How can you say, I fought to defeat the man? Then you say the man is responsible for defeating himself. I just don't get it. And he says he would do all he can that President Weah is expelled. I don't know whether he has that kind of power in the place, or is he working on behalf of somebody else? Because there's no way that a country that is split 50-50, the difference we're talking about here, 20,000 votes here. So the country is evenly divided. And you want to say, like somebody coming from the Unity Party and say, we'll expel Joseph.Boakai or we'll expel George Weah. You are out of your mind. You don't have the country at heart. Go ahead, Anthony.
So if anyone understands the CDC, you will understand that the one person that is a singular, gravitating force of CDC is George Weah, right? If you remove George Weah, CDC is dead today. He's the only person that the sedition will not blame for all of what happened in his administration, but blame everybody else and forget about George Weah, even though he's the head, right? So Mr. Tenny may have his disagreement, but to push it to the extent where they have to expel, George Weah from the CDC, it's a hard ask. It's not feasible. It's not something that you're gonna even have, huge support for. He may say it. It's his freedom to say it. He can express himself, but it's not possible to be done for the CDC. You can start. Very few people like Elvis and other people who are direct supporter of George Weah will say, I wish George Weah would have done X, Y, and Z. But the vast majority of sedition will not even say George Weah have done anything wrong. To even ask them to say, why has he done wrong? They can't say it. That's how much he's beloved within his party. Sedition will be making us, once he speaks, everything goes down. You saw when he spoke at the Fakulon Church about his decision to concede. The whole, discussion about, we're getting the street and everything just went quiet. He's the one singular person within the CDC that gets his people to respond to the way he wants them to respond. If he said get in the street today, they will get in the street. When he said sit down here today, they will sit down. George Weah is that person within the CDC who has that power. Now, to the issue of CDC, don't overlook this party. Politically, in the last 18 years, CDC have done extremely well politically. They won state power. They led the country. They control the House of Representatives, also control the House of the Senate. CDC politically have gained herself this position in the country. For the past 3 electoral process, presidential and legislative election, CDC have made it to the second round and were fortunate 2017 and won the seat. This last election, they lost again. They made it again to the second round. It is not a party to just dismiss. It is not a party to overlook. And guess what? George Weah won in 2017 with a commanding lead in the second round compared to what Boakai did with a very slim majority. There is not a majority that has power to lead the country in a very commanding way. They will have to compromise, especially if we have legislature who understands legislative politics, who understand the nuances, how to, hold government accountable. Boakai will have to compromise a lot of the things that he wants to do. Right now, CDC has the power to retain the House of Representatives and also has the power.
Dr. Tenny.
Listen, I spoke to Dr. Tenny.
Mr. Kamara, I'm going to sanction you.
CDC still possess a political power that people are not understanding. If the CDC caucus come together, they can get a lot of things done. Just that the only side now of most of the lawmakers, they don't understand their power. They don't understand what they have in their possession. They really don't understand. If they do, people will respect them.
Great. Mr. Kamara, I will start with you with number 3 because we run out of time here.
Thank you.
We are going to ask you because, like I said, he who wears the crown. Shakespeare now, that's not me. That the smartest bastard man that ever lived. Listen, the smartest bastard man that ever lived, Shakespeare. I know you don't want it long because it's not CDC. The crown is not on your head. That crown or thorn is on your head. Give us the update about Joseph Boakai coming to the United States. The Nicodemus coming to the United States, hiding for about 15 days. Finally, he was up for 17 minutes, and they told him out of there. Give us an update about Joseph Boakai's performance, where he is, what is he doing here, who he met with, what is the policy? Talk to me.
Okay, first of all, let me tell you this. Mr. Evers, he said Joe Weah should go and prepare himself, better himself.
I didn't talk about Joe Weah. I said talk to me about... No. We said Joseph Boakai update. Don't go to Joe Weah. Mr. Kamara, you got a crown on your head. You got your red shirt on. You got your Weah family glasses on. You got your Chevrolet watch on. Let's go talk to me. What happened to Joseph Boakai?
Yeah, well, I come to the question. That's what I do. You gotta snooze or you gotta ooze in it. So people can say, ease.
Just go to it. You the one said, just go to it. Don't make it too long. Don't be all over the place. Now,
yeah, whatever. You know what holding me now.
All over the place. Go ahead.
You know what holding me now.
Come on, please.
I gotta touch on anything small, at least for at least 10 minutes. Yeah. So the guy say, hey, Uncle Joe Weah should go prepare himself, get better. They don't know Joe Weah. Joe Weah can never get better. Joe Weah, how you call it, man? Samuel Doe never had a chance. Not 10% of the chance that Joe Weah had as a teenager growing up. You think about other European countries, Joe Weah have been there. Presidents, politicians, he not get better. The time you, like Matusla, time you get better, forget that thing. Let me touch this other thing here again about Mr. I saw Tony and his friend on their CPB platform talking about how America passed law. America passed any law in Congress. According to the Liberian Constitution, no law, no other law, anywhere in the world, any place that contravenes the Liberian Constitution. So just because the state capital building is sound law doesn't mean you can go to Liberia, you go, you catch people, you bring them to America, you're talking about Viper. That's not how it works. Yeah, I heard your show the morning I was watching you. It doesn't work that way. Now, I'm an American citizen. If I commit crime somewhere, America has a right to bring me to America. But if a foreigner, like Gilman, commits crime in Liberia, and he is a Liberian citizen, that is a Liberian law that can deal with Gilman. They're not American law. Forget about that other thought. Now, Mr. Tenny can go jump in somewhere as far as I'm concerned for him. But the other thing you're talking about here, Joseph Boakai, I don't work with Joseph Boakai. I supported Joseph Boakai in this election because I knew he was better for Liberia.
No. The pointer policy. I didn't care about getting the nail and the cross and the armor.
But I'm coming.
I'm coming. Our Pontius Pilate He was over here saying, Joseph.Boakai, remember that finger he do like that? Joseph.Boakai, when Joseph.Boakai got elected, I can promise you he will be the best president. He will be transparent.
This is
No,
deliberate.
listen.
He's trying
He
to
will
bring me
be
back into
transparent.
politics. I told you.
Everything will be in the open. Are you here today now? You say you don't know this man?
I told you campaign was over. All right.
Oh.
My job was to see to it that Joseph.Boakai gets elected. And he has gotten elected. I want to be in a position now where I can critique Joseph.Boakai administration now. Not as a surrogate, because I am not a member of the United Party. But I also want you to know that I am aware that Joseph.Boakai is in series of conversation. And again, thanks to the United States for all that they do wrong, they do a lot of things right. They're really trying to bolster his administration. I think he will do pretty well because the United States government is behind him. That's all I can tell you.
Mr. Padmore, this is the most fishy explanation I ever heard. I said, tell her where the man is, what's going on. He said, Siri. I just show a video where the man spoke for about 7 minutes and they had to take him off stage. Basically told him, they had to tow him off hammer. and he coming here telling us, this man who said Joseph.Boakai will be transparent. He will be, but you hear what he said, Mr. Padmore? He said politicians do campaign. What they say in campaign is not what he means.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
You say he ought to those things were campaign talk, Mr.
No, I didn't say him. I said me. I said me. I'm not, campaign mode now.
You were a surrogate, Mr. Padmore. So all day you've been talking about Mr. Cummings.
But nothing changed.
Because it was just campaign time.
Absolutely.
Nothing changed.
But tell us, I was implicated in his response, Mr. Gilman.
But I don't have time yet.
No, Mr. Kamara, yeah, go ahead. Real quick, 30 seconds. You're probably going to 30 seconds, almost 30 hours. Go ahead.
So, Mr. Kamara, in all due respect, right? Liberia signed treaties, and treaties are laws. I understand, right? They signed treaty with America, and series of treaties were signed between America and Liberia. So, the law that was
not
passed,
laws, they're agreements.
No, name those series, name those treaties. Now, you can't just throw them out and name them.
Let's see. Those treaties that were signed and based on the new law that was crafted, it's because this sanction was now being prosecuted by the host country. That's why Congress went to work and asked for prosecutorial power, and that prosecutorial power was given to them by this new law that was passed. So once it is implemented, you will see it or not, America will not yank people out of that country, especially those countries that have treaty with America.
Go ahead, Mr. Palmer. This man is saying here, a law that was just passed through, it would be in retrospect. The law just passed, so now you will go back to 1847 and bring J.J. Robert Boone over here. Come on, man. Let's go.
First, let me speak on the whole Tenny business, Lester Tenny business. For you to understand where Lester Tenny is coming from, you have to understand the formation of CDC. When CDC was created, George Weah was not part of CDC. A lot of people believe that George Weah was part of CDC when CDC was formed. George Weah was not part of CDC.
Be careful, because I was there.
George Weah was not a part of CDC when CDC was formed.
What?
Okay? The whole idea of CDC was not based on George Weah.
They funded CDC for George Weah. Let's get that right. They funded it for Weah.
Can I speak?
Go ahead.
You're not interrupt Mr. Padmore.
Thank you. CDC was formed to be a grassroots movement. George Weah was selected to be the head of CDC because of his popularity in the country. That's how CDC was formed. CDC is not a brainchild of George Weah. Okay? And that is where Lester Tenny is coming from. He is saying, let's go back to our formation, where we were the grassroots party. Because if he feels like they were hijacked, like how Donald Trump now hijacked the Republican Party.
Hey, keep it to yourself. Don't put your mouth.
You can't separate the Republican Party from Donald Trump. Okay? But the true Republicans feel hoodwinked. They feel like Donald Trump has basically taken the party hostage and they want it back. But guess what? They can't say anything right now. Why? Because Donald Trump is the most popular man in the party. So other than get quiet, they under the ground, but Lester Tenny was able to come out and speak, so more power to him. Look, the second thing I want to say is when we're talking about all these things, Mr. Kamara can talk one way, then he turn around and talk the other way, then he come
I know, right?
He will kind of say, we are Liberians, we should be nationalistic, we should be patriotic. Then at the same time, he will come back again and say, well, you know what happened? Joseph Boakai will succeed because we got a web boy behind him. Look,
Put me verbatim.
What is that? There were people behind you.
Put me verbatim.
But then what I heard, okay? But here's the thing, look, all of us all in our country, the people came, they grabbed our own president, elected president.
But that's not how it happened.
You will no longer be president.
Explain the process.
No, that's true. That's not how it happened, man.
That's not how it happened. What was the process?
There was no Liberian law that allowed nobody can quote any Liberian law.
The law for a president to resign is there. The president can relinquish power. He relinquished power. He relinquished power. He passed it over to Moses Blah. There was a whole ceremony held. We watched it on TV. What are you saying?
What do you know how president can just pass something over to Moses Blah?
Yes, you can resign. What are two help, but you don't want to be president? You can choose to resign.
But that's RCC. That's not even America. That's RCC. America is not even part of RCC.
Let me finish my thought process. Then y'all can give excuses, okay? We all were there.
I want you charging us a put on the platform. Don't be charging us a put on the platform.
We all were there. Charles Taylor stood up and said his words, as I quote, "The decisions of Africans are being made in Western capitals." That's what he said, okay? And we all were there when he was removed, and he had to flee to Nigeria. And we all were there when they went Nigeria, when the Nigerian president went to the US, to Washington, and they said, before you see the president, we collected Chatilo. And they went to Nigeria and they collected Chatilo and they brought him back in handcuffs.
Mr. Padmo, Chatilo is a hypocrite.
I will finish my thoughts.
He's a hypocrite. And please let me come on right after Padmo, Mr. Gaming. I gotta rebuff them.
Can I please finish my thought? Because the thing is, yes, we are a sovereign country. Yes, we have laws, but let's be mature here on this play here. We all know that the reality of the situation. Let's live in reality. Yep. We can say we want this. We can say we want that. I always listen to Mr. Kamara and even Mr. Tawo. They talk about how Liberia should be, how Liberians should be, but that is not the reality. That is not the. So when we sit down and say, "Oh, they made law in National DC," it will not happen in Monrovia. Just stop, man. Everyone here know it will happen. When whatever decision is made in DC, it will happen in Liberia, because who controls your stomach controls you. And as long as we continue to look to them for budgetary support, when Joseph Boakai became elected, where the fuck country he came to bow down? Where the fuck country why he came to bow down? And Mr. Kamara is right here confirming that Joseph Boakai.
I can't hear you.
Bow down.
Let me come in.
Kamara can't hear you. Kamara can't hear you. He said
Let me realistic. Look, I don't agree with it.
Mr. Kamara,
Mr.
Kamara, turn your hearing aid to channel 2 so it can be loud.
Mr. Gamer, let me come in, please.
Go to Mr. Tower. Go ahead.
No, yeah, but I'm talking on the topic. How you only give me 30 seconds? I ain't have my chance to get my take on this topic. My point here is, first of all, Charles Taylor was a hypocrite. Charles Taylor was a hypocrite. Simply put, he sat down in Paris, France, in a Western capital, and took $10,000 for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. That was the first seat that was sold into the NPFL. So you shouldn't say that decisions were being made in Western capitals when he himself benefited from it. We know France was supporting him through Hufil Bonnier. We know all of these things. So you shouldn't come in and say Charles Taylor was right. He was some kind of advocate for African unity or African self-determination. He benefited from the French to remove Samuel Doe. So let's not go there. But secondly, when we are talking about Joseph Boakai coming to the United States, and I think that's what Mr. Kamara put himself into a pigeonhole. The reality is, we as Africans, we're not powerful. The world did not revolve around us. We look at the West, especially these Western nations, for guidance. As an African man and people who think we are self-determined and we have some education, our own success is owed to the Western world. We have to come to this country to get an education to be able to provide for ourselves. Most of us will probably not make it in Liberia and we stay in our own homes. So when people come to this country and try to talk against the West, like, oh, the white men support, they didn't want putting our nose, this and that, but we came right here, we sat on the field, we learned the book that we learned, and that's how we're functioning in the world today. So nobody should try to, castigate the Western world as being imperialist when we ourselves willfully come here or willfully seek to come here into these Western countries to better ourselves. We must admit that we agree with the fact that, quote unquote, they're better than us because we come here to seek a quote unquote better life. But lastly, Boakai, I have nothing to say against him when it comes to listening to what the American government has to tell them, listening to the recommendation of the American government. I will go back in history. Samuel Doe and Charles Taylor. I remember Emmanuel Boer saying that the reason why Doe was removed from power when these boys were going there and lobbying against him, your own uncle, what his name, your uncle, Mr. Gavin, Charles Taylor best friend, different minister.
Oh, Tom, what were you?
Tom, what were you? And all those other guys are going and putting pressure on the U.S. government to remove Samuel Doe. Samuel Doe had no diplomats in the United States that would advocate for him. Charles Taylor made the same mistake. George Weah made a similar mistake. He was looking at hiring lobbyists rather than having seasoned diplomats who can talk to the American government through diplomatic channels to get his point of view across to the American government. You have the likes of Jerome Verdier coming here and putting all kind of poison in these Congress people's minds and hearts against his government. And the sanction was brought against him with nobody on his side pushing against it. So Boakai should not make that mistake, and I don't think he would make that mistake. I think he learned too well from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. The reason Ellen was quote unquote successful, especially in her first term, because she has so much connection in Washington, and she used those connections to her advantage. And I think Boakai will do the same thing. If he wants to be some kind of revolutionary and think that he can go against the United States government and do well in Liberia as a president, he will be fooling himself. And I think he's too wise for that. So, Mr. Kamara, sorry to tell you, but Boakai will listen to the quote-unquote imperialists, and he will do everything they say for him to do so that he will be successful.
Who talking about imperialists here again?
No, because that's how you make it seem. If that's what I say. We are a sovereign nation. We shouldn't listen to the West. Boakai will listen to the West. He will.
Okay, Mr. Kamara, for the first time, you have 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay, let's clarify certain things here. Okay, just because I point out that one time Mr. Pamo stole cookie from the cookie jar doesn't necessarily.
Why gotta be a Pamo?
Yeah, because he used to do it in Kakata. Just because he did that doesn't mean he hasn't done any good thing. I am not here using words like imperialist and all these kinds of stuff. I am saying that from the get-go of Liberia's problem, America was involved in Liberia's problem. America was involved in Liberia's success. Check your history from 1822. Everything that Liberia benefited, most of the time, in terms of what you made define as benefit, America's hand were in it, and every destruction in Liberia, America's hand was also in it. However, this particular administration, from what I know, is that America is supporting him. And because America, not just because America is supporting him, and therefore he's going to succeed, but he being a economy who already is very well experienced and very wise, he has an agenda. He has a vision. He will drive that vision. It is that vision that he will impose upon the Americans to support. And if the Americans support that vision, then Liberia will be successful. So that's why I said if America will support Joseph Boakai, and it's likely that he's going to succeed because America is going to support.
So his success depends on America. Is that what you're saying?
It's not because of America's general support, which we have been having, hasn't done anything. Go through you say the American government sent expatriates, all of them get paid and bring the money right back. It is not going to be the case with Joseph Boakai. That's what I'm saying.
Great. Mr. Kamara said Joseph Boakai is going to drive the issue. How the hell do you drive when you're sleeping? Mr. Tawo, come on here. I know
Yes.
you can't drive while sleeping. It's a crime. You can't do it, but the man said Joseph
Okay.
Boakai will do it. Talk to me about
So
the last piece there. Go ahead.
yeah, what happened here is that just like many of the panelists just said here, whatever the U.S. wants in Liberia is going to happen. We have to be realistic about that. But I want from you in relation to that, I want from you to just point something out quick that Mr. Morris said. I don't know where Mr. Morris actually have this this labeling of African from that they have no inclination to self.
He's a slave. He enjoyed being a slave.
That
You living in a slave master country and you talking I'm a slave. Why you come to America if you're a slave?
please don't interrupt me. Yeah, but I've been picking this up. That you see, this is our problem. Not being aware of our own African history and our own achievement and abilities. The last time was we burned down all of the places, we cut down everything, which is not true. We don't burn anything, we don't cut anything down. We come here, it was like the African don't know anything. The next one is the only way we succeed, we come here and go to school, and we come here willingly. It's not true. I didn't come here willingly. You didn't come here willingly.
No,
I came here willingly. Don't be.
You are an economic refugee.
President was in Timbuktu.
Guys,
Hey, come on, man.
please.
Give me a chance to finish.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
You refugee.
All of us are economic who were in our own country, a war based on interest that was sponsored by Western countries, destroyed the country, scattered us across Africa. Most of us came here as refugees from different camps, or we came here when there was no institution left to go to come here and go to school. Let us establish that.
What a victim mentality.
Yeah,
let us establish that.
Perpetual victimhood.
Let a man land. Let a man land.
Let us establish that reality. That is a fact. If Liberia was intact and the war did not come and things were running well, most of us wouldn't be here.
We didn't travel a lot no more day, as we call it. We did not travel.
So we won't be here. So that's one issue right there that we should address. And the US and any other country don't do anything because they care about you. These people are your competitors. They are not your partners. They brought these terms and they throw it around, and we take it, and they are your competitors. Now, it don't mean you and your competitor cannot have a symbiotic relationship in functioning. But for us to wholeheartedly go into this stuff, that there's some kind of partner that we relegate ourselves to the background and we just look up to them, and in some instances they're your enemies. These are the same people that put you in chains. These are the same people that colonize you. These are the same people that tell you that your way of life should not be allowed. They bring their democracy. Yeah. They bring their way of life. They're imposing it on you. What is the democracy? I'm
gonna change my name from Ali to Alice.
Look, wait, guys. What is the democracy? How in the world one group of people going around imposing that everybody in the world should practice only one thing? Is that
I'm gonna marry my friend, man, but not do so this section.
So we have to recognize these things. So when I'm listening to this stuff, it's people who don't even have an orientation, understanding of themselves and their ancestors and what you have accomplished.
And that's a problem. We have to re-educate these people.
Yeah, man, stop making up, man.
Yeah, but Mr. Aliyu is supposed to have gone back to Liberia and be living in Liberia and speak about this thing. You can't be saying
but y'all put Weah there. That's the problem. I wanted to go a long time.
You got Joseph Boakai, so stop back.
Yeah, but you're not there.
I'll buy a plane ticket tomorrow so you can go by Liberia.
Mr. Kamara.
They get plane ticket before you use it. Yeah, go ahead.
When now Joseph Boakai winner, I thought you would be packing by then. Say, you know what? It is time to go to Liberia. You never went. You still here. You're not going to Liberia.
Can I have a 30 second? Can I have 30 seconds?
No, you can't have no 30 seconds. You can't have not 30 seconds.
Yes.
No.
Okay, good.
Forget what happened.
So listen. I heard my senior brother, Mr. Tawo, speaking on this. We are economic slave and all of the different things. Look, The resettlement program was not imposed on everyone. You're not forced to come on resettlement.
Oh,
we were not forced.
Man, they don't have to
You
use the
were
word you are
forced to come
told.
here.
If you're hungry,
No,
you'll
no,
not
no, no.
go.
Pay attention. Pay
You're
attention.
hungry, you'll go. What are you talking
Hold
about?
on. Let me say this. Liberia in the
You think
diaspora.
Kogodolo and Border P,
Stop.
the
Hold on,
America,
Mr.
you'll not go there.
Liberia in the diaspora are the backbone of the Liberian economy today. Are you disagree with that
I
again?
don't have anything to do with it. You came here by force. You are sitting some refugee.
No. I protested to come here. I came on a protest. I will never file for. Nobody said no affidavit for me.
Yeah, protest
Protested
voluntary.
before we came here.
What were you doing? What were you doing in Ivory Coast and not in Liberia because your country was
I was
being
not even in refugee camp in Africa when I protested.
No, they say what you're doing in Ivory Coast.
Listen, guys. Listen.
Don't say that to me. Because I was not in the refugee camp when I protested. I was in the city. Abidjan has no refugee camp.
Mr. Kamara.
The refugee camp was way in the west of Ivory Coast.
Their refugee guys confused. This man right here.
What you want to say? We were economic slaves.
Their refugee Anthony Gay is confused. Hey man, Jimmy Eastman, the engineer, get off our show.
The engineer, Jimmy.
Mr. Padmore, where there was a show on CBS, they would say, where is Malao? Where is Joseph-Boakai?
Nobody knows Joseph Boakai.
Go look for him.
No.
For 6 years, we complained about George Weah. That was one of the biggest complaints we had about George Weah. There was no transparency. Sometimes when I even know whether George Weah in the country or George Weah not in the country, okay, and George Weah would not speak to Liberians. He wouldn't communicate with us. Those were some of our largest issues we had with George Weah.
Man, but I completely police. Get my business. The man are president will communicate with you.
He is president-elect.
Yeah, that's how you go back out that way. We forced him to come out.
He is an agenda. The Liberian people want to hear from him.
They gave a speech yesterday.
Where?
That speech there?
Where he gave speech?
You didn't watch it?
Where was it?
It was in Boston.
In Philadelphia, in Rhode Island, I think.
In Boston.
No, it was in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. It was in Rhode Island.
I don't even know where, man.
Where is Waldo? Where is Waldo?
It was in Rhode Island. The reason why I said Boston because the Boston blah 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 or Judicial were the one that organized it. But yeah, it was in Rhode Island. So if you didn't watch that yesterday, I don't know what to tell you. Why are you going from Joe Boakai?
I was supposed to be going from page to page.
But on social media.
Mr. Kamara.
I went on United.
Mr. Padmore.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Padmore.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kamara, do you really want us to play the video that we got here?
Oh, God.
But why would I tell you what to do or not to do? You want to play?
Do you want us to play the video where they were taking him off stage and
nobody took him off stage? You know how to exaggerate.
Mr. Jimmy, please show the video where the people
show the video where they pick up the man taking off the stage,
leaving and tripping over his own foot. His man spoke. We couldn't even hear him. Nobody could hear him. I won't be surprised that Joseph Boakai. There you go.
Joseph Boakai is the next president of Liberia. He's going to be president of Liberia for the next 6 years. Live with it, get used to it.
Mr. Let me come in, please.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yes. To these guys who these people who people who are sitting in America and say they're Pan-Africans refuse to go on the continent of Africa and do anything. But they will sit here and say that America has enslaved them. No, please allow me to finish my thoughts, because there's whole victim mentality. You live here, you survive, you make money, you send it back home, you look like a big man. You come from America, you shine, you go back home. Everybody looking up to you. You can't wait to come out to America. But they say America is imposing their will on somebody. Look, I came to this country. Please. Let me finish my thought, Mr. Kamara. I'm not talking to you in particular. I was staying long. Look, I came to this country on DV. You voluntarily played DV to come here because you know life was hell in Liberia and you wanted to leave and come to a better country for a better life. Nobody forced anybody to come to this country.
Economic refugee.
So You can say political
No,
economic.
economic refugees, they
Yeah.
willing.
I
Right.
don't have Google. I don't have
Unless
Google.
you're a
I don't have Google around me yet. Please define the word voluntary.
Meaning that you were sitting down one day and say, "Wow, I want a better life.
You think if you had the life in America, if you had a
who's
life
supposed to
that
give you?
connects
Who's
to
supposed to give you that life?
if you had a
Another
life
place
that
supposed to give you that
connects
life.
wait.
America's supposed to give you that life in Nigeria.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you.
Okay,
Let me
guys.
ask you.
Please let me finish my time, Mr. Kamara.
If you had it in
Please.
Liberia, will you be here?
Who's supposed to give it to me? America's supposed to give it to me.
You're not answering my question.
My point here is, please allow me to finish my thoughts. Allow me to finish, please. The point when people say that we're being, these things are being imposed upon us, and we are so political, economic refugees.
Nobody said what
Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Focus on Liberia's
let's see.
We got some great talks here. We are coming to the end of our show. We are going to go around to get our closing remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, we have no time for your call. We put in your comments, beautiful comments from Magini, from Monrovia, from Buchanan, from Riverside, from Maryland, from Rhode Island, from Boston. If for some reason nobody calling from Rhode Island, or the home base of Joseph-Boakai, because they know we're going to ask
that Flomo Livingston call. He said you were there yesterday.
Yeah, we're gonna ask them which hospital you're calling from. They don't want to do that, so we're not going to go there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this show. We want to thank Mr. Elvis Morris, we want Anthony Gay, we want to thank our own, what the man said, Mr. Kamara said, we campaign in rhetoric or in prose, and all of those
That's why you keep drawing in the political because you want
all the things we said when during the campaign time, it's just like the people say in Liberia, when you love into a beautiful girl and you're in bed, you ask the girl asks you, gonna buy me a car, you say yes. You're gonna build a house, you say yes. When day breaks, she asks you where's the car, you say, hey man, I just love talk.
Pillow talk.
Yeah, that pillow talk that I ate there. So Mr. Kamara said all the things he said for the past 6 years, we should disregard
I did not say that.
Now he's ready to sit back. Don't ask any question. He want to critique now. He doesn't want to answer any question. Nobody should ask him. Mr. Taiwo, it's been very nice having you. Your 1 minute of closing, sir.
Yes, guys. I appreciate everybody on the panel. It's good for us to express our views and our positions. I don't think anything is personal here. I think we all actually really care about Liberia, and we all just have different approaches on how we see things and how we want things to go. But one thing that I would want us to point out here is that Liberians in America, from the time that I was little and before them, usually almost every problem in our country originates from here. What is from the Liberian that is, it originated from here. The war had its roots here. We had 18 years of government that failed, both under Ellen and under Weah. All of the major people that occupy all those positions came from the US here, and they occupied those positions. I knew more than half of them in the Ellen government. They called me to go work at LPRC. When I look at the whole situation, how it was set up, I refused to go because I didn't want to get caught up into that corruption. Right now in the Boakai government, I know top people that are deep into his office. I have no interest either, because so we need to learn. My point here is we need to learn to hold ourselves responsible. Because as Mr. Morris said, the people in Liberia look up to us, but we fail them. We are actually the one that's leading the corruption in our country. For example, you just mentioned Tweah. All the people that were in Ellen government, where are they? They almost all of them came from here. They went over there, they sold in various forms. What happened when they lost the job? They all came back. In the Weah government, the same. And you see most of them after the job, they will leave. In the Boakai government, it's going to be the same. So if we're sitting here trying to be so righteous, we should try to hold the Liberians here in America responsible. That if they're going to go to Liberia to work, don't just go there in the name of expert, go there to be honest and to be devoted. And Pan-Africanists can speak from anywhere in the world. Because in China, Pat Moore, who is a father of that, they founded in London. That is where the whole thing was put together. And the push was from abroad that led to most of the independence that you saw across Africa in the 60s. All of those guys, the Nkrumah, the Zikiwe, and all of these people, they were here like me and you. That is where so Pan-Africanists can speak from anywhere. They don't have to necessarily be on the ground.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Gay.
Pan-Africanists are everywhere, but this time they should have been back to Africa now and established a strong institution and put our
Well said, Anthony.
over 1 billion people in Africa, not a single person on the United Nations Security Council, but yet they have all of the education, the resources, and they have done anything for us now. So thank you so much, Pan-Africanists, and continue to propound this stuff from afar, and don't go back to Africa to set your root there and put your people forward. Look, some of us today will have no career, no relevance in society. How we not come to the United States? Somebody like me,
exactly,
with my career path today, I will not be where I am today had I not come to this country. You understand? With the kind of corrupt behavior that is happening, people's dreams are dying, fading away each and every day. Young Liberian, talented young male and female in our country that has skill set, and our skill set is dying in them. They have talent. They cannot go anywhere because of corrupt officials. So if United States is stepping up her game to hold our elected official accountable, then so be it. So be it. The America today that people are looking at, America poking her nose everywhere. They say America when bullets are flying over Liberia, that the American people are calling to. It's the same America today that continuing our individual contribution to that country. Over 240 million United States dollars is account for diaspora remittances to Liberia. Today, we saw a Liberian man enjoying his own hard work. Mr. Cummings' picture with a Ferrari on Facebook. Then it's, oh, why are you bluffing for? He worked hard for it. You understand? His hard work, not government time in that Ferrari.
Your time is up.
He
Go ahead.
has to post it and enjoy himself. And what we need to teach our children, you too can own a Lamborghini. If you work hard, play by the rules, you can own it. Today, the reason why there is traffic like that, because human beings don't have sense, but human beings as a whole, naturally, you must be put into a circumstance where you will follow rules and regulations. We in the IT world will understand something called TCRP. It's a protocol. If you don't, Mr. Eastman can speak to that. If you don't follow that protocol, the device will not work. And TCRP is universal everywhere in the world. Anybody, it could be in Japan, another person in Korea, another person right in London, they can coordinate with that same thing. It's rules. You must follow it. While the Liberian who go in all various countries with every rule, when they go back to Liberia, they pee in the street, they steal from the people, they do all of those things. And they know they can't do it in America. They cannot do it in London.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Kamara?
Yeah, Mr. Kim, I'm going to do this so I can go. First of all, these guys, one, they misunderstand the concept of the entire conversation. We are not ungrateful to the United States, and we're not oblivious to the impact that America has made on our lives either. However, we are only admitting to the truth. America has done some good, and America has done some bad. Okay? America has improved all of our lives. But then again, you say you were not forced to come to America. You did it voluntarily. You came willingly. But then you say, if you had not come to America, you have no career. So it means you had no choice than to come to America. You were not going to choose a path of no career. You prefer to choose a path of career. That's why you came to America. So in a sense, it was involuntary. You had no choice. You understand what I'm saying? You just digging a pit for yourself. Mr. Gilman, I love the United States of America. I became a citizen of the United States of America on purpose. When I came to the United States of America at that time, in my young life, I had already seen over $200,000 for myself, my own eyes. So I could have stayed in Liberia either way. But I weighed my option. I have more security here than in Liberia. I cannot then say 100%. It is voluntary for me to be here, pay $1,800 a month when I can go to Liberia and live in my own house for free. Do you think I'm stupid? I will stay here and pay $1,800 a month when I have a house for free. You think I'm doing it because I'm doing it voluntarily? It's not voluntary. There is certain force that is making me to stay here. It doesn't mean America is imposing anything on me. But condition and my society is imposing on me to go somewhere else if I must live a better life. That is the point we are making to you. We're not saying America is an imperialist and this and that. I love my son Evans. He just threw English around, but that's not what we're saying. Okay, I hope you get this point. You get the point that Liberia was established by different colonization societies, and all of these things was done different ways. People were denied. Natural inhabitants, or what you may call indigenous, were denied. These are history. We're not playing victim games here. What we are telling you is, in order for you to plot a new map, if you can't find the old one, then you have no roadmap. You have to have the old map to plot the new one. It is not a blame game. Every one of us, for me, I signed up with the selective services. You know what that is? When you're above the age of 18, before you go to college in America, you have to agree to the selective services. You know that, right? I had to sign the selective services before I could go to college in this country.
Mr. Kamara, you're telling me, why are you talking long today?
So what I'm telling you is I have some loyalty to America. But when we come on the platform to discuss, we have to discuss the issue in a way that makes this thing entertaining and factual. The truth of the matter is America can give Liberia most sustainable development if it really wants Liberia to develop. But as it stands, America only wants Liberia to be a follower, like George Weah just recently did in the Palestinian thing. The only country in entire Africa that agreed with me that voted along with the United States, only Liberia. You got to change those kind of behaviors. You got to be independent-minded.
We're independent. We don't support Palestine. We don't support Hamas. Mr. Padmore, go ahead.
All right, so let me just conclude real quick. So look, we can want what we want for our country. It's only natural. But while we want what we want for our country, we have to remain realistic, you know. And I've been blessed to live, you know, long enough where Liberians have always come to America. There was a time when going to the American embassy for visa was a mere formality. Mm-hmm. We're not even questioned. We just go and get visa to America. We never used to have to look for green card.
Guys, we got 2 minutes.
We never had to look for green card.
Yeah, right for 2 seconds.
We never had to look for green card. Anything, we come to America and do whatever we wanted to do. That is not the case now. Okay, so we have to live within the reality. And the reality is that America would never be that person that would develop for us what we should do for ourselves. Okay? We continue to steal from our own people. We continue to steal from the poor people in Liberia and enrich ourselves. We continue to vote into power governments that do not have the future of Liberia and Liberians at heart. And then we turn around and try to blame America. America is in the business.
Nobody blame America.
We got 2 minutes.
Let's blame Liberia.
Mr. Palmer, just wrap it up. Let me go quick and be done.
Mr. Eastman, 1 minute, please. Go ahead. We gotta be out here in 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you. I got 1 minute for you. You know, I've heard all the rhetoric since I've been in college. A few days, there was so much rhetoric going on, and it's a lot of the same rhetoric today. What we should do, what we can be doing, who's to blame. It comes down to me. I've seen life comes down to two things. One is discipline. In other words, you know the right way of doing things, and you do the right things. Because you can have all the education in the world, but you don't do the right things. You don't have the discipline to keep yourself in uniformity with the right things. You will have challenges. And the other one, that those who talk and those who do. We have been accused of being a transient people. We're not back home. Why are we here? Let's face it, a lot of our interest is very individual. It's very selfish. None of us really want to go sacrifice to make Liberia what it is. So Until we're ready to have the discipline and the sacrifice required to build your home country, it's not going to happen. Definitely no foreigner is going to do it for you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me give a closing.
Oh, you got 30 seconds.
No more closing. Now you've already
No.
I started with you at the first.
No, you didn't start with me. Let me get my 30 seconds, please.
He didn't speak.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for a great show. I wanted to address the letter of verbage. The letter of verbage is usually a letter giving that from all the countries for something that is a basic warning, like the CDC government said. They have always, previous government has always withdrawn money from their foreign account and then placed it back, and they were digging hole to cover hole, and that was it. But anyhow, that was addressed. But for some reason, people are using this, even as the government is going out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. I think my best quote for the day comes from Emmanuel Bro. He said, Mr. Gaiman simply put, and I think he was addressing this, politicians campaign in prose and govern in poetry, meaning what they say in campaign mean absolutely nothing in leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Tomorrow, next Sunday, same time. If it's 4 o'clock, it will be here. All these guys will be here, and we will address what we did address today. It is 6 o'clock on our show. And as always, we say we are all Liberian. Mr. Jimmy Eastman, you want to take us out?
Oh, okay.
We are all Liberian.
Liberia's biggest enemy is their own self. That was my closing.
Okay. So we're close. Mr. Eastman, you want to close us out? Closing song.
I'm going to try. I hope you give me a little heads up. But let's